And hello and welcome to the Bend Like Bamboo vlog, sessions designed to maximize resilience and your health. So I believe that flexibility builds resilience, and we are in a time where we are globally faced with so much change, and I wanted to have a conversation all about how to maximize resilience with flexibility so we can all get through the change that we're all going through, all the changes in life, and every day we experience change, but then sometimes life brings big change, and this is where we find our resilience to be the most important. And we all have resilience, and we have a very special guest on today who is super resilient, and I'm very proud to have her on the Bend Like Bamboo vlog today. And when we are more flexible and we can adapt to change, we are more open to change, we're more adaptable, we're more innovative and creative, we can find solutions, we can rise above the turbulence, and we can see our obstacles as opportunities. And that's exactly what Nicole has been able to do in her life. So introducing my twin sister, Nicole Campbell, welcome.
Thank you.
And Nicole is a very talented tattoo artist. She specializes in eyebrows. And yes, I've had my eyebrows done. And of course, Nicole has beautiful eyebrows. And so Nicole has always been in the beauty industry. And then she was also a makeup artist. And then now she's a tattoo artist, and she specializes in cosmetic tattooing. And she's got a business called Mien Brows.
You almost said Bend Like Bamboo, didn't you?
I did. I reckon I did.
Yeah.
That's so weird that it's just like a regurgitation. See, hey, you always know what I'm thinking. I didn't even know I was thinking that until you knew. It was so funny because we did another version of this earlier today, but it didn't work because my old computer wasn't working. So take two. Everything you said about your childhood was exactly word for word how I was writing it in my book today in that chapter. It was so weird. I've got to show you that later.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, welcome to the show, Nicole. And thanks for being my first guest on the blog or the vlog.
The vlog.
And so I want to first ask you, actually, before I ask you, I want to explain, I want to set the scene. Both Nicole and I have autoimmune diseases. I've got multiple sclerosis and I was diagnosed at 24, but Nicole was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when we were 11. And Nicole had one of the worst cases ever seen. She was really sick with Crohn's, and I'll let Nicole explain what Crohn's is all about and everything that she went through. Let's start with that, Nicole. What's Crohn's?
Okay. So Crohn's disease is an autoimmune disease where your immune system, like any autoimmune disease, thinks that there's a bug, for example, for me, in my large bowel, small bowel and stomach, that isn't there. Therefore, the immune system, rather than attacking a foreign matter that isn't there, it attacks my large bowel, small bowel, stomach, and then eventually all my joints in my body. So, yeah, that's basically, so the symptoms are fatigue, weight loss, bleeding from the bowel, and I had a rare form of arthritis where the inflammation from my stomach and bowel spread to every joint in my body, and I was very malnourished, got down to 19 kilos.
Yeah.
But Crohn's is a very individual disease, as is MS. So that was for me. Lots of bleeding from the bowel, lots of bowel cramps, intense stomach pain, and of course body pain.
What about emotionally and cognitively?
Emotionally, cognitively, very fatigued, very tired, because you don't have the nutrients there. Your brain doesn't function as well, so you get very learning is harder. For example, when we were at school and I was starting to get really tired from, remember grade 6. We weren't in the same class then, but in grade 6,
that's when you started to not come to school anymore.
No, I was still at school then. It was year 7 that happened. But grade 6, I remember having to go to bed as soon as we got home from school. Yeah. And just really tired. So extreme fatigue, therefore emotionally more anxious. Just really very flat. Yeah.
So mentally, emotionally and physically, it's a very debilitating disease. So you were diagnosed with it when we were so young. And so I remember that was really difficult watching you go through that, because we are twins and we did everything together, particularly when we were younger. All the photos of us when we were kids, we were holding hands, we were best friends. We did everything together, and you went through so much, not only just with your illness, but then that isolation from school and your friends and me, and we weren't doing everything together anymore. And I really felt the trauma of that too, because I had no choice but to go to school, and I was too young to be able to sit next to you all the time, even though I wanted to. And so I was forced to make friends and sort of like keep living life, even though I didn't want to. And that created a massive abandonment issues for both of us we probably still working through now that even though we're 40 now, we still work through that, don't we?
We do. Yeah, it is. It was very traumatic on both of us. Like, we were separated when we were born for 6 weeks.
Yeah, so we were 6 weeks prem, and they put us in separate humidity cribs, because back then they didn't realise.
They didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't realise that may not be such a good idea.
Grade 4 was our second separation, where we were split up. They thought it was unhealthy for us to be in the same class.
I know, and I disagree. I think we thrived when we were together. And
you did.
When we were together. When we were together. And
you
then
did quite well, though. You're more of an extrovert. I'm more of an introvert. And you did quite well, even though it was hard. I was remembering that being really traumatic.
You found it harder. You found it harder to be apart.
I did. And then our third separation, I guess, was boyfriends and stuff, and you moving out. No.
Oh, yeah.
No, the third
in my early 20s.
So, third separation was my illness. Fourth separation was like you moving out of home first, which was so weird. Yeah. And then the fifth thing, was your disease, but it actually brought us back together. And everything that we'd learned in my disease, I was there for you as an adult. It was, Yeah,
it's like the tables turned. So I was, after school I would come to your hospital bed and I would sit next to you and I would be there as much as I could, but I really wasn't there in the moments that you really needed. But you had, obviously, mum and dad were there.
But I was so out of it on all the medications that, honestly, it's such a blur that time. I only remember snippets of it, of certain times when because I was passing in and out, because I was in so much pain.
So let's talk about that. So when you were at your worst, that was around the age, when were you in hospital?
11.
When it was at age 11 when you
I was diagnosed
in and out of
in January.
Yeah.
I think it was the 6th of January I got diagnosed in 1991. And Easter. Remember, it was Easter and Granddad passed away. That was
like more towards when you were really ill. Like it wasn't at your diagnosis. Yeah.
My diagnosis was February of 1991.
Yeah.
And it took January, February, March, took 3 months, and then just before Easter. So just before Easter is when I was hospitalized.
Yeah.
For a good 2 months for pain control.
And we were in year 7 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, and this is what I wrote about in my book as well, is the twin pain is really real, because when you were at your worst, I could feel that, and I would know that there was something wrong in my guts. And then shortly after that, a teacher would come in and then say, you need to go to hospital now. You're like, your sister's really sick. And so I would always feel that deep connection within you. And there's positive connections, but then when things are not good, but when your twin is not well, it's a haunting feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, like even now, like if you have bad days, I'm like, I better call her.
Yeah, you just feel it. It feels heavy.
I just know when you're off or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were at your lowest, when you felt really, really sick, I remember you flatlined and you died twice. What was that like?
Good and bad. So
what was the hardest part about?
The hardest part was I knew I was putting my family through hell. I knew that it was very hard, especially for mum, because she was, next to my bed 24/7 or most of the time, 99.9% of the time, and she was absolutely exhausted. And that particular night, when you're in pain for a long period of time, you actually get a bit delusional. Yeah. So I was starting to get delusional. I thought my left shoulder blade was lower than the right, and it was all about, because, I was tiny, and my left shoulder, even to this day, this is the one that clicks the most. So anyway, I was like, Mom, my shoulder's not right. And she was just really tired. And yeah, so that night I was in a lot of pain and it had gone on for months. So I went a bit cuckoo that night again.
So it was exhaustion that
It was
made it really
exhaustion.
hard?
Yeah, it was exhaustion and mental and physically. I just had nothing left in the tank. I was 19 kilos. I had no muscle on me. I couldn't walk.
And it had been going on for such a long period of time, every day in pain,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
There was no
24/7.
break.
No
break.
No, there was one time that Mum got like a million face washes and got them all really hot and put them all over my body. And I think I got 30 seconds of relief and it was like, and then that was it. So, yeah.
And so how do you deal with every day? Because the point of talking about these conversations is to talk about, you know, that we all have those days. Some of them are worse than others, but where we really feel like we cannot put another foot in front of the other, where we just don't feel like we can go on. Because my next question is, what does resilience mean to you? What does it mean to be resilient?
Well, I'll answer that in two ways. I remember Mum back when it was really bad, she would say, Nicole, sometimes it's a day at a time. Right now, it can be a minute at a time or a second at a time. Just take it a second at a time. And she was right. As a child, I think you do what you have to do. You bounce back quicker. As an adult, answering that question would be a bit different, but I certainly gained the core resilience that I needed as a child being really ill, where you just are forced to keep going. There's no option of giving up. There's no option of this is it. I always thought this there's got to be more. This will pass. This is not my life. This there has to be better. And so the inner fight was there. I remember it always being there.
But what did it feel like when you flatlined and then you kind of released and got to that point?
I think
how did it
you would have thought that it would have completely frightened me and it would have been a horrific experience. In fact, the opposite. It was a very spiritual experience. There's no human word to describe it, but it was peace. I wasn't in pain. I was light as a feather. I probably was out of my body. I don't know. But
why do you think it got to a point where you just surrendered? Was it a conscious thing?
It was. I remember a moment where I was just, can't do this anymore. And it was the first time that I was like, I actually can't even take another breath. And then I remember closing my eyes and waking up to Mum pounding on my chest saying, don't leave me, don't leave me. And that was when they were trying to also resuscitate me, apparently, because that's all blurred. But I do remember that moment of I can't breathe anymore.
And did you get like any messages? Like, did you kind of like get anything wherever you went in those moments? Was it like, and then what was the decision to come back into your body? And then was there a realization after that experience? Like, did something change you?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely remember being out of my body and possibly looking down because I was not in my body. I couldn't feel any pain. I felt this complete and utter, there's no word, but really love, peace, tranquility,
relief,
acceptance.
Right.
No, not even relief, just full acceptance of your soul. I don't know. And then I probably would have passed over if Mum hadn't have really said, I need you to be here. Maybe that was why. I don't know. But I remember this.
You felt
Mum, I felt like I had to come back.
Yeah.
And keep fighting. So Mum really did bang me back, literally. And then, of course, that got everyone really worried. But for me, I think it got me to another state of, okay, death isn't scary. So it's okay.
So it created more strength within you.
Yeah, it did. It really did. It gave me more substance and understanding of the world a little bit at that young age, and more understanding it later as well.
Why do you think you went? What did you learn from all the suffering and pain from having an illness so young? What do you think, if you were, if that experience was placed in your life for you to learn something and to elevate and grow, what would that be?
That the tiniest little moments matter the most. That mindset is everything. You can get through absolutely anything with this.
Even pain and illness, and
yeah,
it's like, how is
it's
it that
amazing
your mind...
what the mind, because you take yourself to another world to cope. It's amazing what the mind does to get you through.
Yeah.
Eventually, as I got stronger, obviously nutrition, exercise and all that contributes massively. But at that time where it was extreme, your mind.
And so when you started to rebuild and you did get better, and so you went and had some experimental treatment in London that Dad found, and you were treated with chemotherapy mixed with these antibiotics that were targeting tuberculosis, even though you didn't have tuberculosis, but they wanted to give you these drugs to,
it was clarithromycin and rifabutin, two hardcore antibiotics, mixed with a bit of chemotherapy. And the good thing about that was I was able to get off about 80 tablets a day that I was on currently at that time that were killing me.
And that was prednisolone. What else? What were you on before that?
Like 100 milligrams plus a day of prednisolone, cortisone. Oh my God, it's like, I can't even remember all the names, but there was so many.
The drugs that puffed you up and gave you that moon face, and you lost your hair, and you were and you had extra hair on your body.
I know. I had a full moan, and my hairs on my arms were really, really.
Yeah, and you could only wear really thin clothing because of your arthritis, and
I had to wear very thin. I had from Target. I had my high top sneakers and my really loose leggings and really light tops, because even a sheet on me was painful.
And so, and then I was, sort of growing into a teenage body, and I had boobs and braces, is what I say in my book.
Yes.
And I've lost you there. Where's the video?
Sorry, my battery's dying.
Have you got a plug?
I do, but like my earphones are on this. Do you reckon it's okay if I take out the earphones?
Let's just see how we go. Try and keep them in.
Okay.
Let's just, And so I remember you had the experimental treatment. You were supposed to be in London for 2 weeks. You ended up being there for 6 weeks. And that was hard. That was hard.
I know.
Obviously for you, because you were going through all the treatment as well.
Yeah, but I really wanted to talk to you. And I remember whenever the phone would ring in the hallway in the place that I was staying, which was a little...
and it wasn't easy. I wasn't able to talk to you as much as I wanted to either. And
I know.
That was a dramatic change in our life. And I remember being without you and then changing schools in the same year. And then not only did I lose that sort of connection within the home and then with you and Mum because you were gone, then I just lost my friends at school and had to start a whole new school, and it just frazzled me.
Yeah.
And so what does it mean to be resilient to you? What does that mean? What's the definition?
Resilience to me now means my journey of being sick and looking a certain way and my body not doing what I want it to do and not being in control of my body is having complete and utter, how do I explain? Basically, you have to be so comfortable in your skin as well as in your soul. You need to be so self-assured that you on your own can get through anything. And you prove that to yourself through adversities in your life and the outcomes, and persevere and show up and keep going every day. You've just got to keep going. And then if you put yourself in the right positions and places, the right people come. But resilience is all about utter love for you. If you don't love yourself, no one else can love you, and plus no one wants to be around you. So you just need to have complete and utter self-confidence.
That self-love and that inner confidence and consistency, so that no matter what change is going on externally, whether it's illness or change in life or a change of direction, you find that inner belief and sturdiness. I call
Yeah.
it, you know, like the inner anchor,
Yeah.
which allows us to be flexible and more open to change. And then we can see things from a higher perspective, and we can have a higher understanding of why things are going on in our life, so that we can feel like things are happening for us, not to us.
Yeah.
And so as you rebuilt your life, emotionally, physically, biochemically, nutritionally, like what did you do and what helped you to rebuild? So you came home, you did get better, the treatment worked really well, but there was still a rebuild.
But there was still a lot to do. It was only actually you started working at Chase's and doing bar work with all our friends, and I remember your boss Beck calling me at midnight and said, Nicole, you're coming to work. And I hadn't been out in the world in so long, let alone in a nightclub. And I don't know what possessed me, but I got dressed and I hadn't left the house in like, you know, a year and a half, literally. And I went down to Chase's and she interviewed me and she goes, you start right now. Get behind the bar. And I said, Beck, what if I need to go to the toilet? Like, because I had to go to the toilet all the time. If I needed to go, I had to go to the right then.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm right here. And she really changed
what you believed is possible, what you believed you could do. And it was so much fun. We ended up working in the bar sometimes together.
Best days of our lives.
Oh my
best days of our lives.
It was awesome. That was meant to be. That was meant to be.
I know. But it was when we decided, we went to uni and did our thing, but it's when I decided I wanted to do full-time dancing and singing, because that was our passion. I thought, while my body's good, I'm going to do this. And when we started exercising on that level and scale as a professional dancer, doing jazz, hip hop, ballet, you know, full time, God, we were so sore for the first week, but my whole body changed. The pain started to subside. My bowels started to work more normally, and
we had to eat well
really
as well.
And we had to eat really well
to stay fit. And it also, you know, experiencing adversity helps you to understand what's important, which we're all going through right now. We're minimalizing, we're stripping things back. We're realizing just connection and having those few people in your life that really matter, to have moments to laugh. And what we realized then was like, I love to sing and dance, and I want to actually give this a go as a career now that we're 18 and or 19, I think it was. And so, it helps you to, you know, strive for your dreams. And yes, I do remember that. That was pivotal.
A pivotal point.
Pivotal.
Yeah, it was a pivotal point.
And it forced us to really do what we wanted to do. And then you launched yourself into the beauty industry. And I think you went through a lot when we looked different and you were on medication and I started growing. And, you know, I hated that too. I hated not looking the same anymore, because we're so used to looking exactly the same. We're identical twins. And so how did the gift of learning, because you became obsessed about how to, it wasn't just about beauty, it was more an inside out connection of beauty and changing the external and how that makes you feel on the inside, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought if I'm going to be sick, I might as well try and be the best I can be on the outside doing so, because if I can't control my insides, I'm going to control my outside.
Well, there you go. That's exactly what was going on. And then you became a makeup artist and you had your beauty salon, and all your clients have always just loved you, that connection. And
it was wonderful. Loved it.
You loved that, and helping people to feel better about themselves. It was always about that. And
deep conversations really during, you know, the beauty therapy stuff. It was beautiful.
And then you went through another hard time when you had a bit of a change in your business, didn't you? Where your beauty salon just took a turn. I think you had a break, didn't you? And then it caused the sales to drop.
I closed down, and when I came back, I moved shortly afterwards across the road, and that deeply affected, for some reason,
things changed.
And it was really, really, really hard. But I showed up every day. I didn't just pop in when a client booked in.
And maybe you already had that skill set because of what you went through when you're younger. You had the discipline to still put one foot in front of another. And when you're sick with an illness, you kind of have no choice, do you? It's not like a choice. It's not a choice. It's like you have no choice but to keep going, because they're kind of like bodily stuff that you're dealing with. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. And that is a gift, isn't it?
Yeah.
How was that translated into what you had to go through then with the business and how you had to rebuild it and create Mien Brows like you have now?
Well, I realized after a period of time that what I was doing was not working. Even though I was showing up, it wasn't working. So I had to put myself out of my comfort zone and think, okay, what's something I still love to do that's within this that I can upskill on and create? Hence, I fell into cosmetic tattoo artistry of the brows because I had mine undone because I ruined my eyebrows in year 9 with chickenpox. So I had experienced someone working on my brows and fixing them. And when microblading started becoming a thing, I looked into it, and training for that was a challenge. And, you know, you're cutting people's skin. It's not just a wax. So this is a whole new ball game. And, but I thought, no, I'm going to do this because I love it. And I loved working on people's faces and creating a natural look on someone that completely makes them feel more comfortable with themselves. So it wasn't just like a makeup transformation or a beauty transformation. It was real transformation on their face straight away that lasts for a long period of time. So that was a huge journey and hard, but very rewarding. Very rewarding. And then the growth of Mien Brows was just incredible over the first, well, it's been 4.5 or almost 5 years now. And it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And now I'm on to my next project, and that's scary in itself. But I'm like, no, you got to keep growing.
So what's your advice with people that have a change in their business? Maybe their sales have dropped. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they want to start a new career and really follow their passion and rebuild something new now. What's your advice to people like that of what they should think about to get through that?
Just find something you love. Find something you wake up in the morning, think about, and go to bed at night. And if you don't know what it is, find it. You can find it. You can find it because things change all the time on what you're passionate about. And it's through experience that which is hard at the moment, I know, with lockdowns and everything and not going through as many experiences out there. But I find through experience, you find your passions as well. And then find your passion, and then refine the skill. If you like any top athlete, if you do something over and over and
you
over,
master it,
every day. I practiced on my practice pads. My roommate thought I was nuts, but I couldn't move my arm. And I did that daily until I perfected my craft because I knew I had to be the best. And that was no other option.
And you can also apply that
or
not
the
just
best
to a
I
technique. It's like, but it's trying and trying again of pivoting how you can apply your skill set to create a new business. Like
exactly.
And how we've all had to go digital. Like I've had to figure out ways of, seeing clients and working with corporates in a totally digital way. So it's same, but it's totally different.
Yeah.
And it requires, so how do we get out of our comfort zone when we're going through so much fear because everything's changing? Like, how do we do that?
Well, you also need to do a few different things outside of your box that you would normally think of. For example, I love the skincare that I've been using lately, and I decided to become an ambassador only because I love the products, but also gives me an opportunity to earn some extra income on the side digitally and also speak to my audience, which is still in the beauty field. So it's win-win-win.
So what you're saying is you got to think outside of the box.
Yeah, of course.
You got to think out of the box, and then
you've got to try different things because that might lead on to the next thing that is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I try and do something that scares me every day because it rewires my brain to do something I normally would say no to. Like the thing you put on the very bottom of your to-do list, I try and do that first.
If I have a list, I do the hardest thing first.
Yeah. Because then the rest of the day is easier and you bring that satisfaction in achieving.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
Into all your other tasks.
Exactly.
All right, cool. So tell me, what are 3 tips that you can share with everybody today on, overcoming adversity, how to be more resilient, and how to be more open to change that we're all experiencing?
Know that whatever comes your way, you are equipped mentally and physically to deal with it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trust in yourself. Trust in your gut instinct, the core of you. Listen to it. And you do that through meditation and stuff.
But even I remember when I've gone through the worst of my stuff I've gone through with illness, there is something inside of you, isn't there, that
instinctively
takes over. And
each
it's like,
person has their own essence. They know what to do.
and their own superpower, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so believe in yourself. Utterly love yourself. The biggest thing on this planet that you need to learn, that everyone needs to learn, is to completely and utterly, completely love yourself.
How do you do that?
I do that by meditating. I do that by journaling, because then I remember all the things that I was even reading my old journal, and I had to put it down because I was like, oh my gosh, I could read forever, because you forget all the things that you've done and accomplished.
And journaling is very good with emptying and washing the mind of, like, because you get it out of your head and onto paper, and that closes the tabs in your head.
You forget what you've been through. And also just looking at memories sometimes on the computer or something. I try to stay off social media too much. I don't scroll. I just do post things and do things, because it just, you get lost. But like sometimes I'll look at memories and I'll be like, oh my God. So that, and also just hone a skill that you love to do, that makes you smile, that makes you glow, that makes your eyes sparkle, and really research it.
Get obsessed with it, and meet other people doing it. Meet other people that are really good at surround yourself with them. You become the company
you keep.
Yeah.
And so keep that group around you towards what you want to accomplish.
And if you have these thoughts or beliefs or ideas that pop into your head of like, nah, I couldn't earn money doing that, question it. Ask yourself why not? And it's usually an expression of, because I don't deserve it, or the good things don't happen to me. And that's the juicy stuff that needs transforming.
It is.
But if you go out there and go for what you want, that's another way of transforming those deeper beliefs that, you know,
try it.
Good things do happen for you.
If you don't do it, someone else will.
That's right.
And you're more than capable of doing it. Anyone is. You just have to believe it.
So everyone out there who's going through something right now, just really believe that, or understand that, you know, everything you're going through is getting you ready to become the next version of yourself that you're ready to be, that's going to give you all the things that you're asking for. So it's happening for you, not to you. And we have to get through the grit, don't we? We have to get through the sludge and the person we become on the other side of that is the point. Yeah. Isn't it?
And there are hard days. Sit in them.
But there's really rewarding days too.
But when you pass the hard days, the juicy bits come.
Because of the power of polarity, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You don't know
light
joy.
from dark, dark from light, joy and dark. Yeah.
So you can absolutely get through anything you're going through. And my tips are, you know, just to add to that is, you know, try and be in the present moment as much as you can, which is probably why journaling and meditation works really well. Spend alone time, particularly during this time while we're still waiting to get out of lockdown, try and utilize the time, you know, switch it around in your head, give it a new meaning of, thank God I have the opportunity to slow and rest, and maybe read some books I haven't read yet.
Exactly. Flip
the story, because it's so easy to go, oh my God, I'm trapped.
I know.
And I don't get to see my friends or do these things. But what if there's a higher reason for all of this, and just take advantage of that? And
then you take back the control.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all perception, isn't it? It's subjective. That's really cool. Thank you so much, Nicole. Now,
thank you.
You not only do you tattoo eyebrows, but you've also got an academy starting.
I've been working on it for a year and a half now, and we'll be launching. I want to teach what I love. So that's what I'm going to do.
So that's your new thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how can people find you?
www.mienbrows.com. That's the website, but all our social media.
So
www.mienbrows.com. Amanda will put a link below, I'm sure. And everyone can never pronounce Mien Brows. And all the social media links,
they'll be on your website.
Facebook. Exactly. They show all the updates on what's coming up on the academy. But Mien Brows.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for, being my first guest on my vlog.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Well, I love you very much.
Love you too.
All right. See you guys. See you next week.
Bye. Please tell me that works.